Thanks God it's Friday.
Hey, I'm ready for the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the summer break
Absolutely.
officially starts for
Yep.
the Lashko.
That's right.
So, again, can we stop the show now because it's summer break?
Well, you know what? There's always politics in the summer. There's always politics.
All
the
right.
time. All right. Even it doesn't matter over Christmas, Chinese New Year, whatever. There's always politics.
Well, I have a hard time to try to arrange interviews because a lot of the legislators are flying elsewhere.
Yeah, a lot of legislators are all over. As we saw, executive councils all over the place. Legislators aren't mandated to put their travel schedules up on the internet.
They should. They really should.
Well, it seems like the Hong Kong public wants our legislators, whether it's Execo or Legco, to put everything up on the internet.
Yeah.
You know, the whole Paul Chan thing just seems to be getting bigger and bigger all week, and it's about conflict of interest, and now it's, you know, about property and what property your wife had, and your brother, and your wife's brother, and your wife's dog, and your wife's cousins. You know, and then they're going to want to know where they're going on holiday because maybe there's something funny going on there. And so I don't know where our legislators are going, but I definitely, you know, we're going to be making calls and like you guys looking to do interviews over the summer. So hopefully we'll find out.
Yeah, so what else can we talk about?
Well,
about summer.
You know, it's Friday. We're coming up in the weekend. I'm going to talk about kind of a big picture thing as I like to do on Fridays.
right.
That's when I do my big picture thinking. You know, where I come from, when they talk about politics in the summer, they call it the silly season.
Silly season.
The silly season, because so many people are on holiday. You know, let's have a big rally. Sorry, everybody's out of town. No superstars. And the media gets really desperate for news, and they will jump on anything, you know, just to fill the airwaves, to fill the newspapers. We don't print until September, so we're going to avoid some of that over at Harbor Times.
Oh, all right.
But, you know, but it does get a little silly because, you know, what happens is political groups will just try to come up with something to make sure they're still in the news. Fringe political groups that you've never heard of all of a sudden get a case, get a hearing, you know, something that never would have made the Sunday, you know, the 7 o'clock news during the you know, the busy part of the year. Somehow these people get to be the headline.
Yep.
We even had one, I think we're getting into that a little bit. I know even last Saturday, you know, we had that executive council who said he didn't want a porn star to become the chief executive of Hong Kong. And it's like, really? That made the news?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then Saturday night, you know, we had some group of about 10 people who were protesting against that. There were more journalists than there were people protesting, and that made the evening news, you know, on television, on the main television stations. You know, that's some media looking to fill some space.
All right.
You know, that's not really heavy journalism.
I agree.
So I think people can kind of look forward to that, or not look forward to it. But the other thing that people, you know, with all that silliness, people miss the other side of summer politics. Summer is a great time for politicians to make announcements about things they want to go completely under the radar. They will give them the most boring names possible. They'll put them out on days when all the senior journalists are out of town.
Yep.
They're on holiday. It's just the junior Wednesdays.
Cleaning days.
It's time to put things out that you don't want the public to notice. It's got to be announced, so you bury them. So that when somebody notices 6 months later, you'd be like, oh, that's old news. We announced that in August. So people, on one hand, there's all the silly things on the headlines.
Yeah.
But you really got to be on the lookout for things that government's going to want to slip under the radar.
Yeah, but on the other hand, wouldn't it be risk involved because the media may jump on anything, and because it's a quiet season as well, it's a quiet month.
Yeah, well, you know,
how do you weight it?
Well, our chief executive hasn't replaced his press officer yet, so it still looks like we don't have anybody coordinating. You know, coordinating these things really well. If you had good press coordination, this is when you know, government would do something really light and fluffy about some new, you know, help the community type thing with some pop stars, and then put out the serious stuff they don't want anyone to notice under the radar. But I don't know if there's anybody coordinating that yet.
That's true.
Right?
And I think now I have a complete different take on what do you mean by silly. Actually, silly is 5 words.
Yeah.
So it's a season of slowing down things.
Yep.
You start with an S.
Yep.
And I think you also need to do more research on the internet.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's the I thing.
Yeah.
But you can also do a lot of longitudinal research.
Longitudinal.
Yeah,
okay.
longitudinal. You can do more research on that.
Yeah.
But you can also, the other L is that you can look out for people that are on the fringe.
Yeah.
Now you have the time to interact with them.
Yeah.
And finally, the why. I think the why is the yawning issues, the boring issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sensitive issue.
Yeah.
You don't want people to look at it.
Yeah.
Then you just flush it out
That's
during
right.
summer.
That would be the time to get it out there.
So, wise politician can enjoy a silly summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be wise enough to enjoy a silly summer. So silly is the word for Friday. So wish you a silly summer, and just flush out the unhappy things as soon as possible.
All right. Have a great August, Vincent.
See you next week.
Cheers.